see all of you. Here we go, big welcome. Shabbat Shalom, Shabbat Shalom, Shabbat, 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 Shabbat Shalom, Shabbat Shalom, Shabbat Shalom, Shabbat, 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 Shabbat Shalom, Shabbat, 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 Shabbat Shalom, Shabbat, 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 Shabbat Shalom,
Shabbat Shalom, Shabbat Shalom,
Shabbat,
Shabbat
Shabbat Shalom.
Bim bam, bim 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 bam, bim 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 bim,
Bam,
Yai
bim,
bam, bim 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 bam, bim 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 bim, bim bam. Good Shabbos, everyone.
Good Shabbos, Rabbi.
So you'll have to tell us at the end tonight what brings you to Shabbat. Is it just the pure joy and the calm of Shabbat? Is it jazz? Is it free food? Is it the cocktails we'll be having later? Well, whatever it is, it's wonderful to be a community and to come together and to share in a little bit of some Shabbos time. And so as much as some of us would like just to go right to the lobby and start that nosh and that time, you know, it's nice that it's difficult to pull you in here because you're seeing old friends you haven't seen in a while, and that's part of what happens when you come to services and enjoy this time, and we'll have plenty of time as well. And so after our 3 hours of prayer, but it's your shalom. Come on. Don't worry. I've got a lot to say. But it's most important that we're a community. So as we always do, find someone you're sitting near who you may or may not know. Introduce yourself to them, wish them a good Shabbos, and help us begin this evening together.
One more.
And so, help us. You know, we call these CAYA Shabbats, which is come as you are, and it's the idea of just being comfortable and being casual and being able to relax and breathe a little bit and enjoy some time together. And I think that's really what's most important about being a part of a community. And all of us find different things that are meaningful in Shabbat. All of us find, you know, different pulls. Some for us, it's Yortzeit. And it's the idea of memory and connections that we feel on a night like this of Shabbat. Some of us, it's just the idea of knowing we're not alone in this world. And we connect with one another, right? And we share in the prayers and melodies. Some, it's just a time to close our eyes and breathe and hear beautiful music and be blessed with the musicians that are helping Cantor add such joy to our time together. So thank you in advance for our musicians. We'll meet them all in a moment from Cantor at the end. Actually, since I interrupted my thoughts with that, Cantor, would you like to introduce musicians before we even get started?
As I turn my mics on, I'd be happy to. On the keyboards, we have Cliff Monier, who's a dear friend and an amazing musician, accompanied by Ray Parker on bass and Keith Kaminsky on our woodwind. So I know you're going to enjoy the evening with their playing tonight.
Wonderful. So, you know, you've heard me say this before, and I'm so blessed because we have a preschool at Temple Shir Shalom. Actually, our preschool today meets at Adat Shalom, where I was this morning, because we rent the space from them. A year from now, because we had a meeting with the township yesterday and got some more of that approvals going forward, that preschool, those children will be here, right? And one special thing that Rabbi Daniel or Cantor and me will do with our children is we give each child a Shabbat candle, each one of them, and reminding ourselves that every one of us brings more light into the world. Right? It's a teaching I learned from Rabbi Abraham Twersky. Rabbi Twersky talked about how difficult it was at times as a child growing up. Here, he was a spiritual child raised by two rational parents who were doctors. And, when he would come home with his test scores, and if it was a 98, it was why it was not 100. I can't imagine a parent who would do that. I hope my parents aren't watching right now. Anyway, so they sort of instilled something in him, but he would always have Shabbos with his grandfather. And his grandfather would have as many Shabbos candles as there were people around the table, one always for Rabbi Twersky, for this little boy, Abraham. And his grandfather taught him there's more light in the world because you are in it. And we tell our preschoolers that every Friday morning as we get ready for Shabbat. And in my own home, it's something we did starting 24 years ago with my children. And when we got a dog, we added an extra candle because she brought more light into the world as well. For those of you who are dog lovers, you appreciate that too, and how much that meant. And that instilled within everyone, our world is brighter because everyone is in it. So hold on to that thought for a moment as I invite past President Bunny Lieberman to our bima to help me in lighting of our Shabbos candles now.
Baruch atah Adonai Eloheinu melech haolam asher kitshanu b'mitzvotav v'tzivanu lehadlik ner shel Shabbat.
So with that idea, with that in mind, as you look at the Shabbos candles, what I ask as we begin our prayers tonight, as we begin our Shabbat time, to think about that idea of bringing more light into our world. Our services tonight, our CAYA services, we don't formally use the prayer book. And please, if you're more comfortable, feel free to open up the prayer book, and the Baruch Hu will be there in a few minutes, is I think on page 21, and you can follow along if you'd like. But for the idea for us is just to look within. Prayers, sometimes that we're familiar with, are that which lift us up to something beyond. The rabbis talk about that which is fixed, the keva, and that which is inspirational, the kavanah. So sometimes we need that fixed idea to bring us to that inspiration. So for now, let's begin our idea of prayer, our thoughts. Maybe close your eyes and take a deep breath. Sing remind us of our mission in this world. Yes, as I said, we bring more light into it. Each and every one of us have potential, but we say, Olam Chesed Yibaneh. The world is built on kindness. There's so much that swirls around us in our days that distracts us, that takes us out of what we want to do, of what we need to do, of the kindness that we can bring into our lives and into our world. So what I ask, as maybe you close your eyes and breathe in deep, to think back on this week, not of the challenges, not of the difficulties, but think of the kindness that was shared with you. Think of a word someone shared, a door that was opened, a hug that was given, someone lifting you up. But then recognize as well that which you've done too. That very same kindness, that goodness, the gifts you're able to do, to share, to make a reality just by being you. The blessing that we share with one another.
Olam Chesed Yibaneh, Yadadai, 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 Olam Chesed, Olam Chesed Yibaneh, Yadadai, 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 Olam Chesed, Olam Chesed Yibaneh, Yadadai, 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 Olam Chesed Yibaneh, I will build this world. I will build this world from love. And you must build. And you must build this world from love. And if we build this world from love, then God will build this world from love. Olam Chesed, Olam Chesed
One of the most beautiful things in the prayers that we create is the idea of what we say as individuals and what we say or sing as a community. And for those of us who are comfortable praying, the two of us here maybe, that's not me, but two of you probably in the whole room, the reality of community sort of helps us in that. One of the nicest things is when we come together in a crowd such as this is that it's not just Cantor's beautiful voice, it's all of yours as well. And you realize we're not alone in these prayers. That as Jews in a world where a lot of slings and arrows are thrown our way, that we have people around us who support us, who lift us up, who think like us and challenge us, but understand what it means to be part of the community. So let's hear each other's voices as we come together as a community now with our call to worship with the Baruch Hu, as we rise now as one.
Baruch Hu et Adonai Baruch Adonai Hamevorach Leolam Baruch Hu et Adonai Hamevorach Baruch Hu et Adonai Hamevorach Baruch Adonai Hamevorach Leolam Vaed Baruch Adonai Hamevorach Leolam Vaed Baruch Hu et Adonai Hamevorach Baruch Hu et Adonai Hamevorach Shema Yisrael Adonai Eloheinu Adonai Baruch Shem Kevod Shem Kevod Malchuto Leolam and thou shalt love Adonai your God with all thy heart, with all thy soul, and with all thy might. And all these words which I command you on this day shall be upon thy heart, shall be upon thy heart, and thou shalt teach them diligently unto thy children, and thou shalt speak of them when thou sittest in thy house, when thou walkest by the way, when thou walkest by the way, frontlets, and they shall be for frontlets between thine eyes. Thou shalt write them on the doorposts, and thou shalt write them on the doorposts of thy house and upon thy gates, upon thy gates, that ye shall remember, that ye shall remember, and do all of my commandments, and be holy unto thy God, unto thy God, unto thy God.
Prayer can be so many different things for us as individuals and as a community. It's an opportunity to reflect, to meditate. It can be the music we hear and that we sing. I wrote something for today as I was thinking about the moment that we begin our Shabbat by taking a few deep breaths and allowing ourselves to relax. We incorporate jazz music into prayers. The music fills our hearts and minds with peace and joy. As we listen to music, we focus on the beauty and the blessings of Shabbat. We should be thankful of the gift of rest and the opportunity to connect with our loved ones. We should take a moment to reflect on a week that's passed and a week that lies ahead. To be mindful of thoughts and feelings and open to the possibilities that the future holds. It goes on because I asked ChatGPT to write a meditation for me in the style of Rabbi Michael Moskowitz of Temple Shir Shalom, Emes. I said this. I said, in preparation for Jazz Shabbat, and this is what I got. You know, we talk a lot. I'm not kidding. It's right there. Sounded good, right? I read it a little methodically, though, intentionally. You know, we've been talking a lot in our world about AI these past weeks and months, and I'm going to share a class soon about the morality of AI and what it means for our future. I don't have the answer, but I thought a discussion around class would be important because it is our reality. I don't think necessarily it's something we have to hide from. Like, I loved one professor I saw who asked her students to use AI, to use ChatGPT to start their essays, and then write the essay about how they could make it better. See, what Shabbat is that's unique is that it's human. No matter what we create in artificial intelligence, the idea of Shabbat is to give us a sense of empathy, to connect with our soul. So there are things that machines will be able to do and probably do better than us in time, if not already. But the idea of feeling the connections of community, that warmth that we experience and the sense of protection is, I think, what makes us unique and will always be a part of us. So in preparation for this class that I haven't announced yet, but that I've been sort of dreaming of this week, I was looking at some text and how rabbis have dealt with change in the past. You know, like that horses were being replaced by cars, and could you ride your horse on Shabbat, or would a car be better? I know this would be a huge issue for me. So, but how they answered the questions about innovation and what they saw as technology. And I think it gives light to what we might think as we look at AI and our lives in the future. Maybe not about Shabbat, because there are many rabbis in the world who would never have a laptop on the Bima, as I would never have done 4 years ago either. But yeah, there are, I don't know, 20 people online with us right now enjoying services. Hi. And some who aren't able to physically get here, and some who makes it easier. Some who right now have COVID and can't be here, and so they still get to be a part of our Shabbat. So progress and what we innovate can be good, but we have to sort of balance that and figure it out. I think that's why we have this next prayer, because even when we know what's going on in our world, there's so much we don't know what's going on in our world. The prayer Hashkivenu says, let us lie down in peace, God, permit us to wake up in security of knowing we're safe and loved. Be a shield around us, keep enemies, disease, homelessness, hunger far away from those we love. The idea that we feel this comfort, protection, this calm, and we want this to continue. But we all know we can't guarantee what happens tomorrow, so let's appreciate this moment, the present. Let's take Shabbat as that gift to help us make every moment in our lives more holy. That we're told we are given not just a soul, but on Shabbat, God places a second soul within us so that we're extra aware to the world around us, extra attuned to that which is good, extra special in a sense, to feel that which is holy. The sweet voice of a child, the touch of a friend, of someone we're with, the voice, the song, the majesty of music, the sense that we're a part of something bigger than ourselves. And that becomes our blessing.
Hashkivenu Adonai Eloheinu l'shalom V'amitenu malkeinu l'chaim Hashkivenu Adonai Eloheinu l'shalom V'amitenu malkeinu l'chaim Hashkivenu Adonai Eloheinu l'shalom V'amitenu malkeinu l'chaim
mystics taught that there are certain ways we can experience the world to come. We can experience a sense of eternity in this world, in the lives we feel here. One of those ways was the beautiful sunshine and the blue sky that we might find. Peeked out a little bit this afternoon, nice surprise. Another is the joy of Shabbat, the idea of giving ourselves time on Shabbat. That it's a gift. That if we give ourselves time, we feel something that stays with us for what they said was eternity. From that, Rabbi Abraham Joshua Heschel wrote this poem that said, eternity utters a day. What does that mean? Eternity utters a day. His words, a thought has blown the marketplace away. So if you've been in Israel, if you've lived there and you see Machane Yehuda, the hustle and bustle of the market, the fruit and the fish and the candies and the vegetables, and how everything gets shut down 2 o'clock, 3 o'clock, even though there's a couple hours before Shabbat begins. And suddenly the market gets silent. Only there. Only in a world where everyone has experienced this day of peace. There's a song in the wind and joy in the trees. Is it ever quiet enough that we can actually hear the wind? I love when children ask, can we see God? And challenge and tell me they don't believe in God. And I say, well, tell me about the God you don't believe in. And I say, well, I don't believe in that God either. And sometimes I say it's the idea that we can't necessarily see God, but we see God's presence when we see the leaves blowing. In a sense, we don't see the wind, but we see the impact of the wind. And so when I think of that line from the poem, there's joy in the trees. There's something that happens around us. Shabbat's arrived in the world, scattering a song in the silence of the night. And eternity utters a day. One day. For all of us who are here this evening, for all of us who have made this moment our Shabbat time, we will bring something with us when we leave here that we'll hold on to for the rest of the week. That's a gift. Because we had a little perspective, a little sense of blessing that surrounds us as well. Because we understood what it means to feel the moment of Shabbat.
A thought has blown the marketplace away. There is a song on the wind and joy in the trees. Shabbat has arrived in the world, scattering the song in the silence of the night. The thought has blown the marketplace away. There is a song on the wind and joy in the trees. Shabbat has arrived in the world, scattering
Adonai, Sifatai tiftachu fi, Yagid tehilatecha. Eternal God, open up my lips, that my mouth may declare your glory. Baruch atah Adonai, Eloheinu, ve'Elohei avotenu ve'imotenu, Elohei Abraham, Elohei Yitzchak, ve'Elohei Yaakov, Elohei Sarah, Elohei Rivka, Elohei Leah, ve'Elohei Rachel, Ha'el Hagadol, Hagibor v'Hanora, El Elyon, Gomer Chasadim Tovim, Ve'koneh HaKol, Ve'zocher Chastei Avot ve'imahot, U'mevii geula livnei v'neihem, Lema'an Shemo bi'ahava, Melech Ozer u'Moshia u'Magen, Baruch atah Adonai, Magen Avraham, ve'ezrat Sarah, atah gibor le'olam Adonai, Mechayei hakol atah Rav lehoshia, Mashiv haruach, Umorid hagashem, Mechalkel chayim bechesed, Mechayei hakol berachamim rabim, Somech noflim verofei cholim, Umatir asurim, Umkayem emunato lishenei afar, Michamo chabal gevurot, Umido melach, Melech memit, Umechaye, Umatzmiach Yeshua, V'ne'eman atala hachayot hakol, Baruch atah Adonai, Mechaye hakol. Atah kadosh v'shimcha kadosh, U'kadoshim b'chol yom, Yahalelucha Selah. Baruch atah Adonai, Ha'el HaKadosh.
In the presence of the Torah and the thoughts of our prayers, so do we think of those in need of healing and strength. We walk around with the Torah, of course, and reach out and touch it and mention the names of those we're thinking of in the midst of our prayers. I chose this Torah tonight. It's our Ukrainian Torah. So it came to us from Odessa in 1991, when it was still part of Russia, Ukraine was, and we used to call it the Russian Torah. Realizing this past year its history, and for 170 years of its age, where it came from, we realized we should be calling this the Ukrainian Torah. So in our prayers of Mishiberach, so we link ourselves with the community of Ukraine, with hopes for their healing as well, but for all of our friends and family. As we say, Mishiberach, Avotenu Avraham, Yitzchak, Yaakov, V'imotenu Sarav Kolev Rachel, Hu Yivrech et HaCholim, merciful God, who has blessed our ancestors, Abraham, Isaac, Jacob, Sarah, Rebecca, Leah, and Rachel. Send your blessings to our loved ones who are stricken with illness and anxiety, especially friends and family we think of at this time. Amy Drysdale Atler and Suzanne Becker, Linda Bamba, Wendy Bratt, Michael Brody, Blanche Crane, Karen Kasman, Patty Seresny, Liz Dudash, Michael Eisen, Lainey Epstein, Barbara Esrig, Carl Fisher, Ann Gotro, Howard Goldberg, Barry Grant, Susan Greenberg, Batia Besha Panina, Ava Haberkornholm, Ty Hall, Hank Heiser, Carol Kaufman, Karen Coltono, Marta Lazar, Zoe Marcus, Stuart Markovsky, Lorraine Majeski, Sean Majeski, Gail Mintz, Lev Herschel and Ba'ami, Reza Batlea Miriam, Melanie Pohl, Anim Porcelli, Dahlia Ravi, Eve Ryder, Rachalmi Beit Chaim Bachava, Arthur Reish, Marcy Fisher-Reiners, Jan Raval, the St. Amand family, Heather Shepperly, Janet Schwartz, Neil Sefferman, Bernard Sklar, Roberta Sanino, Guy Stern, Susanna Stern, Aaron Taub, Cartier Woods, Lauren Yaffe, Harit Zapata, all those who've been injured physically and emotionally in Turkey and Syria from the earthquake this week, and of course all the names in our hearts. Baruch atah Adonai v'chalim. Bless you, God, to give strength to those in need.
עלינו לשבח לאדון הכל, לתת גדולה ליוצר בראשית, שלא עשנו כגויי הארצות, ולא שמנו כמשפחות האדמה, שלא שם חלקנו כהם, וגורלנו ככל המונם, ואנחנו קוראים ומשתחווים ומודים לפני מלך מלכי המלכים הקדוש ברוך הוא. ונאמר והיה אדוני למלך על כל הארץ,
The value of a name is the idea of memory. With every name that we share, with every name we say with Kaddish, we're reminded of stories that go with that name. And even when we have no idea who this person might have been, there are others who do, and those stories are carried. And that's why our tradition says we read names as a memorial. And yet, at the same time, we say the prayer of the Kaddish that does not mention death, but affirms life. Reminds us that with all the names that we share, all the names that we know, all those who have been before us, they've given us the gift of the lives that we live. And so we say the prayer to say the values that were handed to us, we have to affirm and hold on to and carry forward and live life to the fullest. In that spirit do we stand together as a community, remembering those who've been taken from our midst in this past month, whose shoshim we mark, friends and family of our community: Marcia Feldman, Judy Malamud, Joseph Feinstein, Deborah Patton, Doreen Billett, Alan Perelman, Michael Miller, Danny Weitraub, Gary Berman, and of course the 20,000 and more whose lives have been taken from them in the devastating earthquake on Monday morning in Turkey and in Syria. Linking their names and names as your sites we mark on the Shabbat. Those anniversary of passing we lovingly commemorate: Agi Alpert, Betty Benson, Joseph Berger, Margold Bing, Ben Burkhole, Lorraine Carson, Gerald Brody, Dolores Curley, Ella Ellman, Barbara Farber, Edwin Farber, Joseph Firestone, Edward Fishman, Rena Fishman, Jenny Freed, Etta Goldberg, Molly Greenfield, Jessica Grish, Joseph Haberkorn, Marjorie Haley, Jacob Harris, Eileen Haas, Emmanuel Lazar, Elise Lewis, Madeline Mandel, Estelle Moss, Leo Mertz, Ida Miller, Michael Miller, Renee Mills, Sam Myers, Maury Melson, Lorraine Popper, Jack Posar, Ray Randall, Betty Rosen, Elon Mutt Schwartz, Lori Simon, Aubrey Smith, Minnie Sossin, Sid Stahl, Philip Stein, Reverend Jack Theodore, Elizabeth Volker, Molly Zager, Bernard Zamler. And linking their names, all the names that we did not recite on the Shabbat, those of every faith and family, those whose lives have touched ours, as well as those who have no one to stand and say Kaddish for them. So do we stand together as one community, as one family, and joining the immortal words of the mourner's Kaddish is found on page 46 of our prayer books. Yikadal v'yikadash shemei Rabbah, bi'alma divrach hiratei v'yalmich malchutei, b'chayachon uv'yomechon uv'chayei decho Beit Yisrael, b'gala uv'izman kariv v'imru. Amen. Yehei shmei Rabbah mevorach le'olam me'amaya, yitbarach v'yishtabach v'yitpa'ar v'yitramam v'yitnaseh, v'yadar v'yitnalet v'yitnalal, shemei d'kudesha b'reichu, le'elam min kol birchata v'shirata, tushbechata v'nechamata, ta'maram b'yama v'imru. Amen. Yehei shlomo Rabbah min shemaya, v'chaim aleinu v'yal kol Yisrael v'imru. Amen. Oseh shalom b'mramav, hu ya'aseh shalom, aleinu v'yal kol Yisrael v'imru. Amen. The source of peace, and peace to those who mourn, comfort to those who are bereaved here and everywhere. And let us say, Amen.
Oseh shalom b'mramav, hu ya'aseh shalom aleinu ve'al kol Yisrael ve'imru amen. Oseh shalom b'mramav.
Shabbos, everyone.
Good Shabbos, Rabbi.
Thank you again to our musicians and cantor. And our jazz will continue during Oneg too, right? We're going to enjoy. So we're going to go there in a moment and enjoy that. And how wonderful that will be. And so we have a special Oneg I'll talk about in a moment, but a few other things that are nice to share. Tea Talk and Torah, our Wednesday discussion, that happens once a month on February 22nd will be happening at 2 p.m. And so we look forward to that. Euchre tournament on Thursday, February 23rd, the second Euchre tournament of Temple Shir Shalom. Great excitement to the last one, so I know those Euchre fans will enjoy that. And L'chaim, a Jewish view of living and doing. My philosophy class will continue on February 27th, that Monday class at noon, that lunch and learn. Of course, Purim is only 3 weeks away, so Purim is Friday, Saturday, Sunday, Monday, I think, at Temple Shir Shalom. Friday will actually be a nice, peaceful Friday night service. But because Purim is the one holiday where you drink, I think well, forget it. Anyway, Saturday night will be the Purim Spiel, the Bohemian Rhapsody, the story of Purim told through the music of Queen, written by our own members, Gary Grossman and others. And so that will be shared up here on the Bima. We hope you all be a part of that at 7 o'clock?
7:30.
7:30 on
Another
Saturday
spiel
night. It is
bites
an
the dust.
adult. It's an adult show.
PG-13.
I've been told. Saturday, of course, is the Purim Carnival, of course, and as part of Shoresh. Monday evening is the actual night of Purim, where I'll be doing a reading of the Megillah, a text study, and a tasting of different whiskeys. As you know, I think it's the 7th year we've done this. We had a few year respite. So we've done like the 6 different regions of Scotland, different scotches. We've done all different bourbons. We've done, we've done tequilas. We'll have a lot of fun. So this is going to be the whiskeys of my home. And so that being, there are some great whiskeys from Michigan now. And so I have curated a few of those favorites, including, you might not know this, that 2 James has a great coffee liqueur, which goes with the theme of tonight. So we'll have that there, but also my home being Israel, and so I'll have the new Milk and Honey's Scotch-style whiskey that's been finished in pomegranate wine casks. So it's a really lovely Scotch, too, that Rabbi Daniel just brought home from Israel. I called him quickly when he was at duty-free, I knew he was at the airport. I'm like, quick, have you checked through yet? Can you get back to duty-free? Grab some bottles. So, and lastly, our adult trip to Charleston, our Jewish trip of Charleston, which is May 15th through 18th, is filling up. And so if you want to sign up, we need you to do so very soon, because we only can hold these hotel rooms for so long. And so it's almost full. So please, by the end of this week, we need to know if you're in or not. It's going to be an awesome trip, and a number of you here are going with Leslie and me, and we're excited for that. It should be a lot of fun. If you want to go afterwards, graduation at Elon University will happen, so you can go with us from South Carolina, North Carolina. Just kidding. So, a moment of Tish before we enjoy our little special Oneg that we have, which the idea of Oneg tonight, Oneg, of course, means, who's been paying attention? No, Oneg doesn't mean food. Oneg means joy. Someone was listening last time. Oneg means joy. How do we find joy? Yes, through food, but a lot of ways we can find joy, being together as a community. But tonight we decided it's winter time. We have to warm ourselves up, so we have a cocoa bar and coffee out there. But if you'd like to warm up your coffee a little more, I have 2 different things you can use. This is 43. It's a Spanish liqueur made with 43 different botanicals and citrus fruits and just lovely herbs, and so it's really nice, and it goes great with coffee. So I have a couple bottles of this. You want to put a splash in there. This is your style, Paulette, okay? Bob, you're driving tonight. And this is amarula from the marula fruit of Africa, and it's a cream liqueur. I usually would never, ever recommend a cream liqueur. But this is great with chocolate or with coffee as well. So these are things you usually wouldn't get. A little splash of this. Try something different if you want. There's white wine. There's red wine out there as well. I am not bartending tonight. You can splash the liquor into your coffee or hot chocolate yourself. You can pour your own glass of wine. I'm confident you'll be able to do this. Other times I'll bartend, don't worry. So a question or two for Tish. Or not. Oh, yes. Alex.
You mentioned the mystics. Who are the mystics?
Who are the mystics? Rabbi Daniel Schwartz of Jupiter, Florida. So the mystical tradition actually goes back to the Gnostics of 2,200 years ago. The Gnostics, Gnosis comes from knowledge, hidden knowledges that they found within the text. But from there, the mystical tradition went on to the 3rd, 4th century, but really developed. When I say mystic, I'm talking about contemporary Kabbalah being 16th, 17th century. So that developed from Spain into Israel, where the founder, Ha'ari, really is, Isaac Luria is the one who really brought that to light. The Zohar is the text of Jewish mysticism, of Kabbalah. The Kabbalists say the Zohar was written in the 2nd century, but that's not true. It was probably written by either Moshe Isserles or one of them in the 15th century, 16th century, and they said, "Ooh, look what I found," right? So it's really contemporary Kabbalah of the past 400, 500 years. So, yes, Gary. Yes. So for those online who didn't hear as well, and Gary's question was that Rabbi Daniel, we talked about the idea of the 3 components of our worship being liturgy, the literature of the prayers, historiturgy, the history that's within those prayers, talks about our exodus from Egypt or the time in the wilderness and the coming of the commandments, or dramaturgy, the drama of that. And no, that is not a Daniel creation. That's a part. And you think even back to the priests at the temple, the way they enact the service of the sacrifice or things, and later on in time, how we took Torah and how we lift the Torah, the drama of that, right? And so it's a way to engage. And the Hasidic tradition really got into that, And, why does a Hasidic Jew daven so fervently? Why do they shuckle, right? Part of it is, I think it helps you pay better attention, right? If you're moving around, I don't know, you know me, I don't focus so well sometimes. So, you move a little, like, why did I become a rabbi? Because I have to focus. If I were sitting there, I'd be off in the bathroom all the time and back finding what food's out and reporting back to you. So Joel's thinking the same thing. He was out there a while ago. So right? I mean, I'm easily distracted. So the idea of different ways to keep us engaged, the drama brings that in. And I think that's some of the Hasidic idea. One Hasidic rabbi once taught me that the reason why they do this is the drama of the prayer inspiring, and it's like going to a well. And every time you're going down deeper, and then finally you bring the water up, and then you spread it out. You splash it around and spread the sustenance to everyone. And the idea that we bring our learning and we bring God's word to all of us. That's not necessarily my thing, but I still appreciate what that intent was. So that's a drama of it for me. So, good questions. Well, I think you guys all want to get out there, don't you? I appreciate that too. So, listen, we try to do these about once a month with different themes, fun. It's great to be a community, but share with us your ideas. And we're thrilled when so many want to be a part of this and, come out on a winter night like this too. But I'm always curious, like, what draws us in, right? And how we can do things better as well. Because for Cantor and me and Rabbi, and Rabbi's not here because he's on a 4th and 5th grade retreat. That's not a punishment. He chose to do that. There's no bar mitzvah this weekend. It works out nicely, and so he's with the kinder and with the staff, and they're having a good time together. So, which is great, but it gives us the opportunity to have a beautiful, peaceful, wonderful Shabbat, and we're looking forward to more music together. And again, thank you to our guests who are here with us again. And I love that, it's so engaging that even Cliff Monier, even because he's present, members came, who said, wait, jazz, Cliff Monier must be here, and, connected. And so, Doctor, I'm glad you're here too. So it's all good. It all works together. Please rise as we give thanks for the sweetness of this day and the joy of Shabbat with Cantor. Baruch atah Adonai,
Eloheinu melech haolam, borei pori hagafen. Amen. L'chaim.
And so, as we join in our closing prayer, I thank our President, Allison Parr, and our Vice President, Terry Cooper. Ooh, they disappeared. Oh, they just went out, who are giving out our name tags and helping organize tonight and helping as leaders of Temple who are so engaged and connected. It's always wonderful having their help with that. We give thanks for our time together.
Yivarechecha Adonai v'yishmerecha.
May God bless you. May God protect you.
Ya'ir Adonai panav elecha v'chuneka.
May God's light shine upon you and shine through you.
Yisa Adonai panav elecha v'yasem lecha shalom.
May God always be a part of who we are as individuals, as a community, giving us all of our hopes, all of our wishes, all of our strength, all of our wisdom as a community as well. Most of all, blessing us by shalom with peace.
V'yasem lecha shalom. Shabbat shalom.
Good Shabbos, everyone.